Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are midweek, and that means another Trekyards mission briefing. Your weekly dose and look at a ship from the broad sci-fi Trek universe. It could be canon, non-canon, side canon, game canon, fan canon, all different canons, or not at all canon, because we do those as well. Today's another special episode, another special ship I think Stuart knows all about, or at least likes quite a lot. Haha, pressure. Stuart, what are we doing? Yes. Why is this special? And how are you? God, I'm bouncy today.
I am fine, thank you very much. Put down the energy drink, Commander. Calm yourself.
I have water. What are you saying?
That's probably vodka. Anyway, yeah, today's episode is sponsored by one of our Indiegogo supporters, Vince Baggio. Thank you very much for sponsoring this episode of Mission Briefing. It's always appreciated when you guys help us out. And he also got a Fleet Yards one as well. So we'll be thanking him again in that one. So thanks for the double donation.
Big supporter. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, like you said, it is one of my more favorite designs from the FASA-verse, actually. Everyone loves FASA designs. Well, not everyone. Most people love FASA designs. And this is right up there. You know how the Andors are like my favorite one out of the FASA designs. This is probably second or third on the list. This is the Northampton class. So a very interesting design and a strange take on Starfleet aesthetic, but it's I like it. I like it.
Did you want to throw the ball to me and say what are my first impressions? Because
okay, fine. I don't have, here, throw something. What's your first impression there, Commander, of this ship?
I'm pretty sure I saw this years ago before Trekyards, but I know that it was one of the few that you sent me early on as like a hey, look at this. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that. It's weird and wonderful. And I want to know what the thought was behind this, with whoever originally put it together, because it's such a strange, like, if form follows function, what is the possible function for this? You know, and not in a bad way for sure, because I quite like it, and I think other views are really, really nice. But I want to know why, and so I'm excited to talk to you, Stuart, because you probably know why. So, what was your first impression of the ship?
Like I said, I really enjoyed it as a kid. I think I have the miniature somewhere around here.
I think you do too. I know you've been sent it by a fan, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I know where it is offhand, but I'm pretty sure I have the miniature of this one. This, like I said, it always interests me. Just it's an intriguing look and shape, and especially from the top and the front, looks really nice. It kind of falls apart on this from the side for me a little bit, but this was one of the X frigate ships, which was an experimental ship. That much I do know. I think it was also a troop transport, if I remember correctly. And it had grav ball courts. I know that, and swimming pool.
Okay.
So yeah. I don't exactly know the thought behind it. I mean, it was pretty well armed, and you know, 300 meters in length. Had a width of 150, height of 75, kind of thing. So pretty standard for a Federation ship that way, but just kind of a unique aesthetic. I mean, you still got the warp engines line of sight with each other.
So if we got the next picture, though, a great 3 views, and like you say, it certainly says more. Top view, really, really nice. I really like the... because you can't see how weird it is in the top view. I kind of wish it was more flat or the secondary. I think you could really do a lot with this ship from the top. Side view, very confusing. It looks like it's one of the ships I've seen though. It's like a weird one that has a single point neck thing as well. Front view looks like those biplanes that can skim on water, or like a repair dock, or as if the arms articulate. Yeah, most ships look good from certain angles. You know, the Enterprise D is actually very sexy from certain angles. Can fall down some other angles. Most ships have a weaker angle or two. This is a ship that is totally radically different from every angle, which is quite impressive. Yeah, I mean, these are your angles. I mean, talk us through if you...
Well, like I said, from the top it looks really cool. It looks much like the Andor class, and I love that design configuration with the engines kind of tucked in the middle. I think that looks really neat. From the front, it looks somewhat like a repair facility or a dry dock almost. Like you could tuck a ship in there and, you know, tractor it and repair it as it went.
Well, maybe maybe it's meant to be like a warp tug. You know, you put a little sub ship inside it, and its bubble stays around it.
Well, it's... This is
well,
like
no, Sam, shut up.
Like the Andor class, this is one of those ships that was designed by Andorian engineers, so it has that unique look. Again, with the engines kind of tucked in the middle. This, believe, was a troop transport. It had 6 standard 6 personnel transporters, which is fine. I think the Enterprise has 4 or 6 as well, but it has 4 20-person transporters.
Wow.
And 2 cargo transporters. So this thing was loaded with transporters. I assume that's because it's a marine transport of some sort. It doesn't really say too much on the site here, but I mean it's a cool ship, heavily armed, and the side view is where I lose interest. Something about it just doesn't look right. It looks awkward. It looks weak.
Oh, very weak. Yeah.
But you know, that goes to the whole ape brain thing. You know, thinking that it looks weak.
If you can fold space, you know, I think you can make strong enough girders to survive lots of things. You know.
Yeah. If we go to the next picture, it's just a shot of it from the top again, but there's a little more detail here. You can see the kind of the amped up impulse engine modules. I don't know if that increased impulse speed, but it's definitely more robust looking than the Constitution class for the impulse engines. So yeah, I know this thing was pretty heavily armed as well.
Right, again, so you would think a troop transport, all that would need to be is a big, you know, internal volume, fast-ish, and transporters. So all this intricate other stuff is like, but why on earth would you need the, you know, the secondary, everything else? What if it's designed to, we know that, and I know we speculated this early on and we got kind of lynched for it by some people, that the Nebula class is also designed to pick up Enterprise D sources. What if this, because it's got this space, is designed to suck up a refit, you know, secondary hull or other secondary hulls if need be, because it's got a natural space in the middle, add some connection points. I mean, you want to save secondary hulls as well as sources, so...
Yeah, that would make sense to have like additional tractor beam emitters on the inner sides of those struts to maybe tractor something and tug it, like you said. I know it does have a 200 troop capability, in addition to the regular crew of 328 people. So
what?
Another 200...
500 people?
Yep. Well, those thick struts going down from the saucer, probably all like crew accommodations and stuff.
Well, they must be. I was assuming that was all not habitable. I was assuming it was just a source. I mean, you're losing the secondary hull for a reason, which implies you don't need that internal volume. Yeah. But wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I just know what I know. And we've looked at the Chandley class before too, which is that huge one with the big wings that go down.
Yeah. Which I like.
That also is a troop transport, but it's got rear-facing photon torpedo launchers. This one doesn't. It's got all its torpedo launchers facing forward. It's more of a offensive ship rather than a defensive, you know, like retreating. So yeah, that's about all I know about it. Just a great... I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I don't know how well it was executed though. I think some kind of secondary hull coming off like above those engines would have made it look a little bit better.
Yeah, or even 2 secondary hulls. I mean, if you go to the next picture as a front view, there's a lot of space. You put in 2 small secondary hulls, which have the shuttle bays. I mean, then you've got all this power, and the warp engines need to be so close to create a stable field. There's sort of a reason for that. You know, or this front view is different to the previous one. It's got, rather than just be simple, it's actually a hugely bulked up, you know, saucer, and then those 2 sides either side. You know, now it's got these big shoulders, and now I can see. Okay, yes, it's got a lot of space for troops. I think they've shrunk the connection points of the nacelles are pitiful, but the top back can see being enough decks to have people in, but still it's
Yeah, this one seems like a modified version to represent more like the Chandley. The Chandley had those big bulking things on the side, which would be good for troop quarters and stuff. So, but if we go to the next picture, there's a deck layout.
Oh, okay.
That I found online, and see, we got it looks like a shuttle bay back at that between the impulse engines there. There's no decks represented in the pylons, so maybe there's not anything there. I don't know. Again, it goes back to like the Oberth class. Exactly what is in the struts and how does that work? I mean, I can see the engineering section being along the side of the nacelle there at the bottom. That'd be a good place to run 2 individual warp cores, horizontally mounted, 1 in each pylon.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm wondering if you took out all of the functional. I mean, so the impulse engine is now not in the source as opposed to the Constitution class, now being its own module. And it's got 2 side modules that we can't really see or relate to. If you take out all the science labs though of a Connie, can you fit an extra 200 people? I mean, I suppose no one's being housed in the secondary hull in the refit, say. So that's not. You could at least hold the 300, but 200.
Well, as we've mentioned with a lot of our ships, they have evacuation limits for emergency situations where they can add an additional, depending on the ship and the time period it's in, like an extra 5,000 personnel. I mean, it might not be comfortable, but if it's going from a starbase to a specific hotspot that there's problems at, that they need troops, I mean, it's not going to be a long trip. So comfort's not really a thing, probably. So they're probably pretty minimal quarters, maybe like 4 bunks. So like
Excelsior
8
style.
people per room. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know exactly.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around the function. Like I said, form follows function. I just don't see a function for troop. But I mean, the next picture is certainly more a beauty shot, which looks a lot nicer.
Yeah, this is a friend of mine, Bruno Signori, has a group out of Quebec called the Starship Oberetti, and they use the Northampton class as their ship. This is actually the design has changed here as well, because a lot of people like Doug Drexler have even said that the Northampton class, the nacelles are too close together. So here they've spaced them further apart. I don't know if I like it better. I mean, I think it looks better from the front, but I haven't really seen this version from the top at all. I don't know. What do you think about the engines being a little farther apart?
It feels more natural, but it feels as if the reason why they were together has been taken away.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, they were so close together for a reason, surely. So the fact they've been pulled apart makes it feel more like I said, a dry dock or something that skims the water. But I don't know. I think it balances out slightly better. Although those struts, I mean, those struts are razor thin. You talk about the J being thin, and the J struts are still like the size of an entire nacelle of say an E, but these are razor thin. I see. If I was trying to reverse engineer the purpose of the ship, and I sort of disagree with the troop carrier aspect. I don't think that really is like the best troop transport is the holo ship from Insurrection. It's a brick with warp engines. If I was to say what I thought the ship was, I would say it was more the Andorians. I mean, that's a very unique take. Keep that. But they were building ships, and Andoria, a couple to help, whatever. And they had some raw sources, and they said, hey, we want to build, Starfleet Command, can we build a couple of our own custom things? We want to test out a new warp field and build something a bit more for us. And so they took older hulls, build sort of custom braces for the engines, changing the style. Like I said, more tractor beams or whatever. Making their own slightly cheaper version of a Connie.
Yeah. Without
the need for a huge secondary hull and such. Although, where does the warp core go then?
Well, that's what I was saying. I think along the pylons, along the side of the nacelles, would be a good place to have one on each side, smaller horizontal warp cores.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Might be a possibility.
So 2 micro cores.
Yeah, maybe. That way, if one of the pylons gets damaged, perhaps you can still have redundancy.
But again, it feels like they're just creating weak spots.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
I know.
Great render, though. Really nice render.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one is an unfinished one, but I wanted to get some different views of it.
Huh.
And this is, again, I think it's modified. The impulse engines are a little different on this one.
Huh.
But again, a very cool take on the design. Here you can definitely see that there's enough room in those support pylons beside the nacelles to have a warp core running through the length of those. It also looks like those pylons might articulate, so you can move the engines a little farther apart, move them down a little bit or up. that'd be kind of neat as well. I think a variable geometry kind of thing going on with that would be cool.
Yeah, why not?
Create different warp bubbles.
Yeah, I like the fact there's kind of a Titan-esque top pod. Yeah, we know the Titan quite well. Yeah, it's so tricky to work out why and how. I think if you had a secondary hull, this would really like just work.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's missing that. But there is a lot of space in these pylons. I mean, in those two secondary wing things. I mean, I think those are probably functional areas with people. Maybe those are the science labs or whatnot. I mean, if you're looking at pure people bunk space, I mean, those are like, like the Galaxy Quest, just rows of people, just or triage, you could whatever that.
Yeah, these pylons seem a lot thicker too than the previous ones we've been looking at. So I mean, there's probably more in there. The next shot is the same unfinished model from the top, and I mean, moving the impulse engines back like that, and having that module and all those additions to the back of the saucer would add quite a bit of room to the ship. I was just reading about the ship earlier, and it said it is quite spacious in its accommodations, and the Marines have, like I said, grab ball courts and swimming pools and stuff. So I don't know if that really translates well to this design, because it's not that much bigger than the Enterprise. You know what I mean? Like the secondary hull on the Enterprise would seem to have more capacity to hold stuff than this addition to the saucer would. So there would just be a totally different. They'd have to take a totally different take on how they did the engineering section on this ship, and I think that's why it's in those two pylons.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. I think unfortunately it's one of those few ships that we are overthinking it so far beyond the original person. The original designer had none of this whatsoever in their mind. They were just like sketch. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But just like we say often, it does need a redesign. I think conceptually there could be reasons for this. For example, I mean, one way you might be able to not save this design, but really make it. If you go to the next picture as well, what if you add a secondary hull, just a classic Connie, comes out quite far, so it's sort of like half as far as the nacelles. What if you put two more nacelles going up from the top of the primary hull? So then it's a 4 nacelle with two unique things, and you can jettison nacelles if you need to. So it's got the redundancy. So it's a very fast, unique warp bubble ship. So not experimental, but it's designed for super long range missions that need 4 warp nacelles. Early Constellation, and they went a really simple route. This is a more cumbersome route, and / Andorian, because this is how they like designs, maybe. Well,
it's funny you mentioned the Constellation, because
the
last picture speaks about that a little bit.
Oh.
But yeah, you were talking about 4 nacelle design. I mean, there was the Mars class Dreadnought, which has 4 nacelles. I mean, the Constellation does. So you're right. I mean, it would definitely work like that if you added some bulk to it. It would totally change the feel of the whole ship, though, to add those secondary hulls and more nacelles. But I think it'd be cool.
I think if you had 2 secondary hulls, 2 other nacelles, make it just a big bulky. Then as a troop carrier, it's like boom, this ship is coming to mean business,
And if we go to the next picture, it's a shot of the same model from the bottom. Now this has like a long center piece, like a spine, which again I could see the warp core being in there and then feeding out to the. Which I didn't know it had that. I mean, that could just be this particular model as well. Like I said, I should find my miniature and see what it looks like, because it's based on the original FASA design. But yeah, I could see that being the engineering section on this beast here. So
no, I buy that 100%. And if you've attached it there, then everything above it is all practical space again.
Yeah.
And so that works for me.
Cool. And then, as I said, speaking of Constellation, if you go to the last picture we have here, this is like an upgraded version with a Constellation class saucer. So you got more shuttle bays in the around the exterior of the saucer. It bulks it up a little bit and actually makes it feel a little bit better. This is called the Audacity class, this version of it. So there's even bulked out pylons on the bottom. If you look at the front view, the way that So I think this one works a little bit better. The engines aren't as far apart as they were on the When Oberetti picture, but they're not as close as they were in the FASA picture. They're kind of a nice compromise as well. But I think the engines should have some sort of articulation. I think that'd be really neat in this design, just to create different warp shape, bubble shapes, things like that would be neat.
Especially if they're putting ships inside of that inner zone. So you need to change the bubble for bigger or smaller ships or whatnot. But I will say, what do you think though, especially that front view, if you were to double up the engines, clone the bottom pieces, flip it onto the top, make it a four nacelle, how do you think that would look?
I think it would look pretty good depending on how it was handled. I mean, you could make it look like crap by just doing what you said, but I think you finesse it a little bit, I think it would look a pretty cool design.
I think that would give more of a reason for the weird whole geometry. Yeah.
And this one too, you'll notice with the Audacity class, the rear of the nacelles are shaped differently. They're more squared off.
More phase 2, I think, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. So anyway, this is the last picture, but we'll go back to the first picture, I guess, which we tend to do here. So yeah, that's the Northampton class. Kind of a unique design in the FASA design history, but we know FASA was very much using regular components and kind of doing kitbashy things with them, which worked. I mean, like you said, I don't think they put that much thought into it, the designer. He just thought that was a cool looking way to reconfigure the parts he had, and didn't think we'd be examining it as closely as we are.
Well, he shouldn't have designed it that way. No, it's fine. Yeah, we go into it here on this show, but it's fun. I mean, form should follow function, and we like to look at every facet of the Trek universe, even the FASA facet. But it's certainly an original design, and I again, let's conceptually take it and try and make it make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
I think you could do that. I close out though. You've obviously known the design for years and years and years. If you were to give a purpose to the ship, take away what's already been said about the Marine, what would you give as the purpose?
I would make it like a mobile repair facility, or mobile repair ship. Like I said, add extra tractor beams to the center part, tractor ship really close to your hull in there, and you still have your warp engines way down low, so you can still create a warp field and get that ship and you out of there. Without having any interference for the warp bubble, and at the same time have like work bee garages along the struts, so you could have work bees come out and start repairing the other ship. That's what I would do. I would turn it into some kind of mobile repair facility.
Yeah, I think that makes too much sense. Like having, because especially, I mean, if you go to the, I guess we'll continue the episode a little bit. If you go back to the last picture of the Constellation, if you bulked up the sides a little bit, made that entire thing work bee pods, and then you just have them launch in the middle, and that could be really interesting. I know we've seen some fan versions of War shipyards before, but as a shipyard, I mean, there's not a lot of ships that are smaller than the Constitution class, like, because most of the same sort of saucer size, so that's kind of a problem.
I would make this a little bit bigger, and I would also add like a secondary hull attached that was mainly just all spare parts and stuff, so you'd have the materials to repair a ship. If you had mentioned adding secondary hulls, I would do that, but it would all be like new construction facilities, maybe a factory or two to so that this thing could go into like border patrol battle, whatever, like out on the far reaches of Federation space, and actually be able to build and repair starships as needed, kind of on the front line. I think that'd be kind of neat.
I mean, if you made a really stout secondary hull, had it connected to the primary, and then had that entire back, because there's so much of that back view of empty space, you could sort of keep a ship right there, so it's close enough to be in the warp bubble, inside the shield bubble if it needs to be, have the work bees come along, say hi, and repair it. Or even just small civilian ships, shuttles, secondary, really auxiliary. I think that's closer and could be very useful, and especially if we know Andrew Probert designed the dry doctor, all the things that you move and stretch. So this also could extend slightly and actually could go over a Constitution class. I mean, all you need to do is give it a third more width, then you could go over the saucer. It's kind of, that'd look really awkward, like an insect sort of clawing over a thing. But you could.
Well, it would look like McKinley Station, where it wraps around. The, you know what I mean? And you put extra tractor beam emitters in there. You hold the ship in place, and you're fine.
Yeah, how cool would that be? So a dedicated Connie repair ship.
Yeah.
But boy, was it not designed for that.
No.
We are so far reaching that.
Yeah. Anyway, there you have it, guys. Yes. So thank you, Vince Baggio, for choosing this one. Like I said, this is one of my favorite ones, and I really enjoyed talking about it.
Yes.
Even though I didn't really know much about it going into it, I probably read about it like in my teens and forgot all about it. But yeah, anyway. So if you like the video, please click like and subscribe and all that jazz. But you can help us out as well. And how can they do that, Samuel?
Well, the free way is just sharing the good Trekyards and or Fleet Yards if you want to be double nice, or directly help us to keep producing this show and other shows and do other cool events. There's the one-time donation at trekyards.com. Just go onto the page, click the donate button, give a little bit. Anything helps. We just got a donation a couple of days ago. Thank you so much to that person. Or a regular donation. This is the sort of stuff that gives us the confidence to keep going, because what we get from YouTube changes all the time. It's very, very hard to guess what we're going to get. Whereas a Patreon, which is a monthly donation scheme, lets us know our backbone of funding, so we can then pay our bills to give days and days and days to this, which we need because we do a lot of shows. We put a lot on ourselves here, we really do, but we want to, and we love doing it. So help us supporting us to do more, and by doing more, you get more, and that means we all win. So, yeah. Cool.
So, until next time, guys, and another great look at a interesting ship from Star Trek universe. I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Cockens.
And we'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Bye, guys.